Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to adjust your table of contents so that it looks the way you want. I am using the same file that I used for the previous tutorial when we changed all our headings so that they are adjusted in the way we'd like to have them. If you are exporting from Scrivener to Word, the prefixes and suffixes will help you to automate the process of changing all your titles, your headers, and your subheaders with just a click with a macro. I do have a tutorial on that, but I'm going to show you something that frustrated me when I was first doing headings, and especially when I was doing them by hand. If you don't select the entire line, let's try that here. Let's mark this as heading 1. If you notice, it doesn't populate over here in the navigation menu, and that's because I haven't selected the entire line. If you don't select all the symbols or the spaces in that line, Word for some reason does not recognize it as a full heading, and it will not populate the table of contents. So let's highlight the whole thing and let's make an adjustment. And here you see we have now populated the navigation menu with Chapter 1. I thought I would show you that first. Okay, let's change that back. Let's go to View. We're going to use my macro. The macros are available on the blog post for that tutorial on using macros to automate your heading processes. Let's just take a look at it real quick. So we're going to edit this. Here I have this set for heading 1. Heading 1 through 6 are the easiest to use. They're usually automatic in Word. However, you can change it to other things. For example, I have a title heading in my Word, and I can change it to that. Keep in mind that your word might be titled a little bit different. So if yours is lowercase and you put a capital T, it will not work. My heading 1 is capital H, a space, and a 1. If I take out the space and I run this macro, it will not work because it cannot find the heading. So do be sure that you are looking to see how your styles are titled. Here's my prefix symbol. You can set your prefix to anything. I prefer to use the pound sign and the @ sign, but really they can be anything as long as they are consistent when you're exporting your document from Scrivener. If anything is a little bit different, for example, if I accidentally put an extra pound sign here, it's not going to work for the process. All right, so let's close this window. And I have preset my headings so that they're blue. I thought it would be a little bit easier to see. I'm going to view macro, and we're going to run. All right, so all my titles are now changed. Word is thinking. I have other processes running at the same time too, so my parent macro ran all my macros for me all at once. So all the navigation menu here on the left is now populated with my headings and my subheadings. And I have a page already set up here for my table of contents. So I'm going to go to References, Table of Contents, and we can choose to put in an automatic table, or we can go direct into Custom Table. Let's start with Automatic Table. And it has populated, and it's now 2 pages. Now I have Chapter 1, and I have the subtitle underneath. I do not want to have the Chapter 1, Chapter 2, all these showing. I can go to References, Table of Contents. Go to Custom Table of Contents, and this window comes up. Here you can see all our headings are populated already with 1, 2, and 3, even though I did not use the 3rd heading. Here, Show Levels, I can choose how many levels I want to display. I can also change the tab leader, change it to dashes, and I can change it to none if I want to. None. I like the dots. I can show page numbers or not show page numbers. I can right align the page numbers or not. I can also put in and take out web preview hyperlinks. If I go to options, here are all the styles that are available in my document. In this particular document, your documents will always populate with the headings. So anything custom will be down the bottom, and I will show you that a little bit later. But here's heading 1. That would be my main title, where it says Chapter 13, Chapter 14. I don't want that one to show, so I'm going to take that out. I only want my subtitles to show. And if I put it as 1 here, Table of Contents 1, it will be on the same level that my Chapter 13, 14, 15 here are on right now. It will shift over to the left. If I want it in the same position where it is now as a heading 2, as a second level subheading, I simply change that to the number 2, and it will stay in its position. Let's just shift it over. And we're going to click OK. We're also going to modify. I hit modify, and here we have all our table of contents levels, level 1, 2, 3. So right now, my Chapter 14 is a level 1. It's shifted over to the left. My subtitles right now are level 2. They're shifted over, just indented a little bit to the right. So let's modify level 1. Let's change that to Times New Roman. Let's make it a little bit bigger on this level. Let's make it a 12. And let's change the color so we can see what's going on. Let's change this one to red. Now format here, if I click format, you go to font. If you find that you're having trouble, your titles are all capitalized, even though they're not capitalized in your document, my Chapter 14 and 15, these are already capitalized in my document. If I click all caps on something that is not capitalized, it will be capitalized. That can be really frustrating. But if you look through the font, you should be able to see if that is your problem. So I'm not going to change anything here. I'm going to click OK. We can also go to format. Another important one is paragraph. So if I don't want so much space in between my sections, I can adjust the spacing either before the line or after the line. Let's change this to 2. Let's shorten the space a little bit. And we're going to click OK. And let's also define level 2. So let's go to modify. And let's change this to something small. Let's change it to a 9. And let's change it to this one. And let's change the color. Let's change it to green. Let's go to format. Let's go to paragraph. And let's change this 2 points. Click OK. Let's click OK. All right. So here we are, the preview here for level 2. And there's the preview for level 1. So level 1, when we shift something to level 1, it will be red. If it becomes level 2, it will be green. So let's hit OK. So if you can see my second heading here, my heading 2 is the italicized subtitles. If I change this now, it's going to be red. If I go to options and I change it to level 2, and I click OK, it will change it to green. Let's go to options. Let's change it back to 1. I want it shifted over to the left. So I'm going to click OK. I think that's the way I want it. And click OK again. We're going to replace this table of contents. Yes. If you notice though, because I haven't set to replace it, it has applied my options to the chapter. So chapter 1, 2, and 3, that's level 1. It is now red, and all level 2 subheadings are now green. But let's go ahead and replace this. And there we go. I have removed my first level headings, and I'm only showing my second level headings. And because my second level headings, I just said, please make them level 1, they are now red. And they're shifted over back to the left side. Let's take a look at the table of contents again. Table of contents. That's custom table of contents. And I can change this. Let's go to options. Let's take this out. So my heading 2, that's my subtitle. I know that my heading 2 is my subtitle. Let's change it back to its original position as being a level 2. So heading 2, level 2. I'm going to click OK. Notice how it has shifted to green. And it's going to indent. It's not going to be over to the left anymore. It's going to shift over just a little to our right because it is level 2. And click OK. Please replace the table of contents. Yes. And there we are. Everything is now shifted over a little bit to the right because it is now level 2. So here's my heading 2. It is now level 2 where it was originally. Everything's on the same page. And here are all the page numbers. And everything is adjusted. Let's take a minute. And let's adjust these pages here. So let's change these pages. And let's put in a testing heading. And let's change this to a heading 3. Right? We can stick it anywhere. It's not going to be in the right position, but that doesn't matter. This is just a test. So I can update this table. So I want to update the page numbers only right now. So automatically all the page numbers have been updated, but none of my formatting has changed. If you notice though, the new subheading is not there. If I update table and update the entire table, the subheading still doesn't show up. Why? Well, that's because I told my custom table to only show one heading. If I want other headings to show, I have to go back to references, table of contents. I'm going to custom table of contents, and I'm going to tell it to show the other level. So heading 1, 2, and 3. So I put this third heading in here, our practice heading. We're going to leave it the way it is. Go to options. And because this is a new table, it has put back the original 3 headings that we started with because it was an automatic table. So I'm going to take these out here. So I'm going to have my heading, my subtitle. For example, Mindful Things is my subtitle. That's heading 2. That's the way I modified it. I'm going to make this stay with the way it is. It's going to be level 2. It will stay in its original position. It will stay green. For my practice heading 3, I'm going to make it level 1, and it should turn red and it be shifted to the left in our table because that's how I define that. So here we go. See, heading 3 will be on the left and it will be colored red. Our subtitle, this title right here, Mindful Things, will be shifted where it already is, already on to the left, so indented a little bit in green. So I'm going to click OK. We're going to replace this table of contents. Yes. It will not show the extra subheading unless I tell it to replace the entire table. So there we are. There is testing right below chapter 1. That's its position. If you're going to change its position somewhere else, just update the table, tell it to replace the whole table, and it will put it in its new position. So we can do that. Let's take testing over here. And let's shove it somewhere else. Let's put it down here. Let's put it down just before chapter 3. And let's update table, update entire table. Yes. And there it is. It is shifted down. And the page numbers change automatically depending on where you put your item. You can customize this any way you like. The best way to learn it is to play with it. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful, and I will see you next time.